All right, great. So hello, everyone. My name is Marshall, and my research today asks whether or not state hate crime laws are effective in reducing LGBT hate crimes. LGBT hate crimes are a particularly vicious type of crime because they signal not only to the victim, but everyone affiliated who identifies with an LGBT identity that they don't belong. State hate crime laws require law enforcement to investigate and prosecute hate crimes, but not all states have hate crime laws that enumerate sexual orientation, SO for short, gender identity, GI for short, or both, SOGI for short. I hypothesize that states with hate crime laws that enumerate more of SOGI are more effective in reducing SOGI-motivated hate crime victim rates. And in order to test my hypothesis, I did two different research designs. I did a large N study and a small N study. And so for my large N study, I did a multivariate regression comparing the number of SOGI-motivated hate crime victims of 48 US states in 2018. And for my small N study, I did a difference in difference design, which compared the number of SOGI-motivated hate crime victims in Colorado, Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. And in both my multivariate regression analysis and my difference in difference design, I found that overall, states that enumerated the most of SOGI had the highest SOGI-motivated hate crime victim rates. This does not support my hypothesis, unfortunately. And one possible cause for this is that states that enumerate more of SOGI into their hate crime laws have experienced more reporting of LGBT hate crimes by both the victim and law enforcement. Future research should be evaluating the current effectiveness of law enforcement in responding to these LGBT hate crime victims, as in right after the attack happens to them, after the hate crime happens to them. And policy suggestions based on this research should include finding best practices in responding to SOGI-motivated hate crime victims and making improvement with law enforcement where needed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marshall. All right, and so Marshall interned with the Office of California State Senator Scott Wiener's office. And so if anyone in the office had a question for Marshall, we'll open it up to you guys first before we open up to the group. If you just raise your hand, or you can even just unmute. Let's see here. Perfect. All right, Krista Pfefferkorn.
Hi, sorry. I don't actually have a question because I just got here. Sorry.
That's totally fine. Comments welcome too from the internship website.
Well, I mean, I know sometimes we say a little thing about our intern, and I just want to say it was great to have Marshall. I wish it could have been in person, and so I hope that someday we can actually meet in person. Very eager to take on any task, and pleasant to be around and on Zoom, so we're very happy that he came. Is there anything that the state of California needs to do to help with the situation regarding LGBTQ and hate crimes?
Yeah, so California, in terms of enumerating SOGI and hate crime, is very, very ahead. I know that they enumerated SOGI into their hate crime, I believe, somewhere in the 1990s, but a lot earlier than most other states, and they enumerated both sexual orientation and gender identity into their hate crime. One thing that usually happens, you're seeing this now, and some states are still in the process of doing this, is that a lot of states will enumerate only sexual orientation into their hate crime and then enumerate gender identity into their hate crime law a little bit later, but California was able to do both. And so my suggestions for California should be in alignment with what I said for the future research and policy implications, which is evaluating the effectiveness of law enforcement in responding to LGBT hate crime victims. These are obviously very sensitive, and when victims have first been victimized by these hate crimes, making sure that law enforcement takes that first step in being able to be very sensitive to the situation. The International Association of Chiefs of Police actually did a study that was funded by the Department of Justice, which laid out effective practices for responding to hate crime victims of any group. And so I feel like that would be a really, really good place to start, but that would also contribute to higher reporting of hate crimes. And then looking to see how California maybe applies those and how California is doing so they can make improvements if and where needed.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Krista. And